It's time to start your day with the First Cup Morning Show.
Serving up a warm cup of good news, positivity, and uplifting messages.
And now, here's your host,
Our dad,
Joshua Kangley.
Good morning and welcome back to the First Cup Morning Show. I'm Josh Kangley, your first cup to start off the week. And there's no better way to start it off with some good news. And we are going to get to the good news of the week in just a bit. But first, let's start this off with a quote. Vincent van Gogh once said, "Great things are not done by impulse, but a series of small things brought together." That line really makes you stop and think. I mean, we live in a world that celebrates big moments, big achievements, big changes, big breakthroughs. But the truth is, most of the great things in life are built quietly, little by little. A kind word here, a patient decision, a small step forward when you don't feel like moving at all. Those are the building blocks of something meaningful. And it's easy to overlook the small things. The smile you offer someone, the extra minute you take to listen, the simple act of showing up every day and doing your best. Over time, those small things add up. They create momentum, connection, and even healing. So maybe this week, instead of waiting for a big opportunity or a grand gesture, we can focus on the small things and trust that they matter more than we realize. Because when all those moments are brought together, the effort, the kindness, the consistency, that's when something truly great takes shape. So here's what we can carry with us this week. Be faithful in the small things. Be patient in the process. And remember that greatness often starts quietly with just one small, good thing at a time. And now let's go to the Did You Know? Did you know that on this day in 2004, the Boston Red Sox ended the curse of the Bambino, an alleged hex that began in 1920 when the team's owner sent Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees in exchange for $125,000 and a personal loan by defeating the St. Louis Cardinals to win the World Series title. It was the Red Sox's first Major League Baseball championship in 86 years. And if you didn't know, now you know. And as always, every day there is a national day for everything. And today, October 27th, is National Navy Day. Navy Day on October 27th salutes all of the military personnel who have served both past and present. The U.S. Navy currently stands as the largest, most powerful Navy in the world, with the highest combined battle fleet tonnage. The service engages over 340 personnel on active duty and more than 71,000 in the Navy Reserve. Throughout the Revolutionary War, the Navy's importance grew, and today, the U.S. maintains 40 naval bases across the country, including the world's largest naval station, Norfolk, in Norfolk, Virginia. Below the sea, submarines became a part of the Navy during World War II. While experiments began in the late 1800s and during the Civil War, they did not join a large part of the Navy inventory until World War II. At that point, subs became necessary for surveillance and rescue. With the advent of the airplane, the Navy became vital stations for the Air Force as well. And as a result, the Navy modified ships into floating landing strips. Today, joint naval and air bases such as Pearl Harbor or Hickam provide necessary fleets of the sea and air defense. Between 1922 and 1972, the Navy celebrated its birthday on October 27th in honor of President Theodore Roosevelt's birth. He elevated the U.S. Navy to a premier fighting force, and during his term as Assistant Secretary of the Navy, he built up the power and strength of the U.S. Navy. Roosevelt's pursuit of the naval aircraft advanced the U.S. Navy as well. And as president, Roosevelt was the first president to submerge in a submarine and also the first to fly. You know, when we think about the Navy, we often picture massive ships or submarines cutting through the waves. But at its heart, it's really about the people who serve. Every sailor, every officer, every family that supports them, they're all part of a legacy of courage, discipline, and sacrifice that keeps our waters and our nation safe. And I think it's also a good reminder that strength doesn't just come from power or might. It comes from commitment, teamwork, and a deep sense of purpose. So today, as we sip that first cup of coffee, maybe take a moment to think of those who are out there right now, on the sea, under it, or in the air, standing watch so we can enjoy the freedoms here at home. And now it's time for some animal facts.
Today's animal is the koala. Did you know koala's breath smells like cough drops because it comes from the eucalyptus leaves they eat?
Did you know koalas sleep up to 18 hours each day?
Now let's get to the good news of the week. And this good news comes from sunnyskies.com. This headline reads, 10-year-old runs miles to honor fallen officers. A 10-year-old boy from Chicago is going the distance, literally, to make sure fallen heroes are never forgotten. Liam, a dedicated young runner with the nonprofit Running for Heroes, has been lacing up his sneakers to honor law enforcement officers who have died in the line of duty. This year alone, Kansas lost 4 officers within just 4 months, and Liam made it his mission to pay tribute to their service and sacrifice, 1 mile at a time. Running for Heroes, founded in 2019, organizes 1-mile runs across the country to honor fallen first responders. Together, the group has completed more than 2,000 miles. That's over 4 million steps of remembrance and gratitude. Since joining in April, Liam has already completed 17 tribute runs. Before each run, Liam learns about the heroes he's honoring, writes a letter to their family, and carries an American flag the entire mile, followed by a fire truck or police car in support. And after the run, he carefully folds the flag and sends it to the officer's family as a heartfelt gesture of remembrance. Liam said, even though we're in a different state, they're still trying to help people and help them stay safe. I want to honor them, even if they're miles away. You know, there's something profoundly humbling about a 10-year-old boy running miles to honor men and women he's never met, officers who gave their lives protecting others. At an age when most kids are thinking about games or gadgets, Liam is thinking about service, sacrifice, and gratitude. And what a reminder to us all that honor doesn't have an age limit. Respect doesn't have a deadline. And gratitude, real gratitude, is something we can practice, not just feel. Think about it. Every mile Liam runs is more than just a physical distance. It's symbolic. It's a mile of remembrance, a mile of connection between communities, a mile where a young heart carries the weight of appreciation that so many adults overlook. It's easy to get lost in the noise of the world today, the headlines, the disagreements, the divisions. But then you hear about someone like Liam, and suddenly it's like a light cuts through the fog. It reminds us that goodness still lives in quiet acts of honor, in the small things done with big hearts. And maybe this week we can all take a page from Liam's playbook. Maybe we can run a mile in our own way, not literally, but through a simple act of kindness, a moment of thanks, or by remembering those who've given more than we can imagine. So as you sip your first cup of coffee this morning, ask yourself, what's your mile going to be today? Who can you honor, thank, or simply remember? Because if a 10-year-old boy, Liam out there, can carry an American flag through the streets in remembrance of heroes he's never met, then surely we can carry forward that same spirit of gratitude wherever we go. And that is some good news. And I hope you enjoyed that good news. And you know what? Do you have any good news you'd like to share? If you do, I'd love to hear it. Please email me at admin@guidinglights.org. That's admin@guidinglights.org. And for more positivity, good news, and uplifting messages, you can always go to guidinglights.org. That's www.guidinglights.org. Now, before we go and before we start our week, I'd like to leave you with a dad joke. And here it goes. Why did the coffee file a police report? Because it got mugged. Get it? It got mugged. Gotta love it. All right, that's going to wrap up today's show. I challenge you to be the reason someone smiles this week. Have a great week out there, and don't let the mainstream media fool you. There is good news happening all the time.